Morning, everyone. I welcome you all on the first session of 7th day of the ongoing workshop. I again welcome our expert, Dr. Sanjeev Sharma. Our resource person, Dr. Sanjeev Sharma, will proceed with his third lecture of the series today. This morning session will be chaired by Dr. Ramu Dubey, who is presently a co-host in this meeting. So you may post your queries to him. Yes, Dr. Sharma, you may proceed, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Suraj. Am I audible, Suraj?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yeah,
Hello. Okay, now I'm sharing the screen. Please let. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Your desktop is visible now.
Okay. Thank you. So, good morning, participants. So, today is my third session on this introduction to Python programming. So, first, I will just give you an overview what we learned yesterday or what we discussed yesterday, and then we'll continue with this session. So, yesterday we just started with Python and I gave just introduction to Python, what is Python programming and what is history of this language, what are various features of this Python language that makes it better than the other programming languages. And then we see that how to install a Python language, uh, and after that various character set that is used to write the Python language, and about vocabulary of this language. We also call it as keywords or reserve words, and how to check, how to see the vocabulary. We see the command, and after that we started with the syntax and then some data types. We discussed two types of data types. One was the fundamental data types, and the other was collection data types. In fundamental data types, we discussed int, float, boolean, complex, and string. Whereas in complex, collection data type, we discuss list, tuple, set, and dict, dict data types. And we also see that how we can convert one data type into another data type by using five basic functions. That was int function, float function, boolean function, complex function, and string function. After this, we discuss how to take input from the user using input function and how to give the output using print functions. And then we discuss various types of decision making statement, and in the last we were discussing the looping statements, in which we discuss the while loop and for loop, and then break and continue statements. So today I will show you some examples regarding this for loop, while loop, nesting of loops, especially when we use two loops collectively, then how can we achieve uh, various results. So let me show you some example. Yeah, this is a simple example in which I have used two loops, two for loops. The second loop is nested under the first loop. The first for loop just start with a variable I, and that varies from 1 to 11. And the second for loop uh, has a variable j that starts from 1 to 6. Actually, the main purpose, the main motive of this program is to print a table from 1 to 5. To print a table 1 to 5, I have taken the range from 1 to 6 because the range function always start from beginning index to end minus 1. So if I have to print the table from 1 to 5, then I have to take 1 to 6. And the first loop will tell how long the table will be, means it will be from 1 to 10. We have to multiply each number from 1 to 10. So it has been taken from 1 to 11. So this is the print format. So today we'll also discuss this format function. This is new for you. Yesterday we have not discussed this. This is a format function. We will discuss it first. Let's see the what is the output of this program. When we run this program, it gives the output like this. From 1 to 5, it gives a table. So 1, then table of 2, table of 3, table of 4, and then table of 5. Now the main thing in this is there are two things. One is a nesting of loops, that how these loops are working, and the second is how this type of output is produced. I have used some formatting to produce this type of output so that each table comes in separate column. You can see that each table is in separate column and there is some distance between two columns. We have I have placed some distance between these two columns. So how this is done? First we understand how the loop works. First the first variable from the first loops, suppose I start with 1, then the loop which is under this first loop will execute completely. After that the control will go back to the first loop. This inner loop will come after complete execution of this inner loop, the control goes back to the first loop. So in print statement format, I have just print I into j. Means if the value comes from upper loop is 1, here is the value of j is 1, so 1 into 1. This for d. So d stand for decimal number because we are using the decimal number, and this 4 gives the space between the columns that we are just yeah, this gives the space, how much space you want to give between the two columns. Now if we modify this program, suppose I just change it, suppose I want to print table from 1 to say 10. Let's see what happens. 1 to 10, I have written 1 to 10, so it will print 1 to 9 because of that range function. It always gives one value less than this. So if 1 to 10 we have to print, we have to write 11 here. Save it. Now we're getting this table from 1 to 10. So this format function is used for the formatting. Let's see another example. Yeah, this one. Uh, this program has been made just to print a pattern of stars. I can also write some comments. Yes, one thing you must also know that we can add the comment in the program. To add the comment, there are two methods. One is using the hash symbol. Just write hash, and then you can write anything that, for example, this program will print the patterns. Will print the patterns. Okay, this is a one way to write the comment. Let me run this program. It just print this star pattern. 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, 2 star, and in the last it gives the I think 1 star. Yes. It's again I have used nested for loops. This one. Again I have used a nested for loop. So this also ranges from 1 to 6, means first 5 star, well 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after that it keeps on decreasing. This function, this number value keeps on decreasing. The initial value is given as 7, then it keeps on decreasing and it's print. This AND parameter has been passed in this print. This AND parameter, what it gives, this AND parameter, it gives the space. If I will not use it, this AND parameter, then output will be in single column only. The output will be in a single column. And this print function, after printing one line, we have to go to the new line. So this print function brings to the new line. If I delete this line, suppose I delete this line and I run the program, I will get the entire output in a single row. Entire output in a single row. Although the number of stars are same, 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, the total number of stars will be same as these, but no new line have been generated. So to generate the new line, we used a print function here. So this print function generate a new line, so you get this type of pattern. So by using hash function, we can comment the portion of the program. Even instead of deleting this print, I can also use the hash. This will comment it, means this line will not execute. So I can comment any line. Now, if you have to block multiple lines, if you want to comment multiple lines, suppose my this comment is of 5 lines. Suppose I have to mention also the name of the programmer. I will write like yes, this is developed by, suppose some author is there, and then I have to mention the date also, that is date of development, and then I have to mention, say some student is submitting this to me, and he has to mention his name, roll number, and the date of assignment, assignment number, etc., all these things, title, etc. Say assignment number, whatever that. So if you have multiple lines for the commenting, then instead of using this hash in front of each line, we use the triple colon. We can use triple colon. This will. So by using these three columns, tricolons, we can comment multiple lines. So if you have to comment only single line, then use the hash. And if you have to comment multiple lines, then these three columns, combination of these three columns can be used. Even yesterday, I told you regarding the various other functions of this uh, three columns. We can also use these three columns to write a string. But there were some conditions that these three columns are used when you have to write some specific word from the string in double colon and another specific word in single column. Then you have to write the string in this triple colon. That was the first use. Second is if you have to write a string in multiple lines or you have to comment it multiple lines, they can use these triple colons. Let's see another programs. This one is also almost same, but the pattern is in the reverse order. The pattern will be in reverse order. It will start from 1 star. It is just reverse of this. The pattern is just reverse of this. So what we have done is there is nothing, instead of minus decreasing the values, we start increasing the value. We start with the 1. In the last program, we start with the 7. Now we start with the 1 and we keep on increasing the value step by step. The rest of the program is exactly same. Let's see, one more is there. Yeah, this will print again pattern but not of stars. It will print the pattern of the numeric values like this: 1, then 1 2, then 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5. So by using these nested loops, you can create a number of patterns. There are variety of patterns that you can generate by this one. Instead of this 1 1 2 1 3, you can print hash symbols also, or you can also print 1, then 2 3, then 4 5 6 7 8 9, and so on. There are hundreds of variations of such type of patterns. So you can try this pattern for your practice. So now let's discuss some more points about formatting of functions. I think shell is yeah. So I was discussing regarding some format function. Generally, we write print statement. Say I just want to print some number. Say suppose I have a number a is equal to 1 2 3 4. Okay, I just print a. Yesterday we just learned this thing that we print a, it gives output like this. Now I want to format this thing. The by default, the print statement print a numeric value in as a left justified. Now let me print in another way. I want to print a by giving some format specifiers. Format specifiers are always given in inverted quotes. The format specifiers are always given in inverted quotes. Inverted quotes for I write uh, for D. Sorry, it's not. Suppose I want to print. Say number is 23 point. Sorry, 234, and I want to print it in the form of say 10. Say I write X. Yesterday there was a query of a student also regarding this. Second. Oh, I forgot to use the format functions. It is in the format function. Then I have to use this. Say 234. Then I have to use this. Say 10x. Yes. One more bracket is there. This one is EA. Now, what is this EA? It has converted this decimal number into hexadecimal. This X means hexadecimal, and this 10 specify how many digits, you want to, how many digits of space you want to occupy. So it means the system will assign a 10 digit space and convert this number 234 into hexadecimal format. Now, if I print the same number in octal form, let's print it. I want to print formatting form. So I have to use the format function. So number is say 1, 2, 3, and I want to print it. Say I was using 5 space and in octal form. So 173 is the octal form of the number. So if I use X, it will convert this number into hexadecimal form. If I use O, it will convert into octal form. And now, if I want to print binary form, then where I have to change? I have to just replace it with B. So this number will be displayed in the binary form. Similarly, we can also format the floating point number. This was for the, if I write the D, then normally it will be in decimal form. X means in hexadecimal form. O means in octal form, B means in binary form. Now if we just want to print, suppose I have this number 123 point, say 5, 6 and 7, and now I want to change it like it. I want to print it, say uh, 10.2 F. Here F stands for float because I want to print in floating point format. So the output will be 123.57. So what it has done? It has done total 10 spaces, but after decimal, round off to 2 points. So instead of 567, it has rounded to 57. So by this, we can round off a floating point number. We can also do one more change. Suppose I want to left justify it. Now it is left justify. Means out of total 10 spaces, by default, it starts filling from the rightmost space. Suppose we have 10 boxes, it starts filling from the rightmost box by default. And if I use this left shift operator, or you can say less than symbol, this symbol, then it will just justify it to the left side. So by default, it is on the right side, and by using this, it will be on the left side. The same thing we can also do with the decimal number. Suppose I have this decimal number. If I use, instead of F, I use G. And for decimal, we need not to use 0.2. This one, sorry. The number is actually floating point and we are using the decimal. This one is. Now, yes. Now this number is left justify. If I did not use this symbol, if I will not use this symbol, I am not using this symbol, then it will be on the right justify. So out of total 10 spaces, whatever you want to do, you want to left justify it or right justify, you can do by these formattings. So it was promoting about some integers, about floating point, and the same thing you can also do with the strings also. So there's one more thing with the, yeah, this one. If I write, if I change it, I write something, say instead of this D, I am using the symbol percentage. It is decimal number. So let's see, 10.2. I use this symbol percentage instead of F. Now what it is doing, it is multiplying this number by 100, then left justify. So this symbol says left justify, and with percentage sign instead of using F, by using this percentage symbol, you will get the number multiplied by the 100, or you can say you're getting this 100 multiplied number. Generally, this is done when the number is in the floating point with lot of zeros. Like if the number is, suppose we have this number, say 0.0, like this. Then this type of things are used so that to reduce the number of zeros from the from right side of the decimal. So now if we talk about the string functions, so how to use the same formatting for the string. Suppose we have a function, we have to write it print, and then we have to use format. I want to format a string this time. Suppose I have a string. Suppose I have written, say, just hello, comma. Again, formatting, we have to write in the inverted quotes. If I write, say, now you have to use S for string. Yes. For decimal, we use D. For floating point, we use F. And for string, you have to use S. You will get simple. This one is because strings are by default left justified. So out of 21 spaces, it has start writing from the leftmost box. Now if same thing I do, I want it to be red justified, I have to use this symbol for this. So out of 25 spaces, it started from the rightmost box. Even you can increase the size depending upon the position that where you want to print. Suppose I write 45. What happens? It has moved to this location. So it means there are 45 spaces or 45 boxes, and it has started to write to print this string from the rightmost box. So in this way you can format any output according to your requirements. So yesterday we were also discussing after looping, we were also discussing regarding break and continue statement. So yesterday, as I told you that the function of the break statement is to just bring the control out of the loop. Break statement, it just bring the control out of the loop. In whatever the loop it is being used, whether it is a while loop or for loop, this break statement will bring the control out of the loop. Now, today I will show you the examples how it works. So, the program just to implement break statement. The program is very simple. We have to just print a number from 1 to 10. We have to just print first 10 natural number. And to print first 10 natural number, what we use? We are using the range. Generally, to print the first 10 natural number, we have to just use a range that from I in the range 1 to 11, and it will print. But now we have a bigger value. Suppose we have 100. So if we are using this range from 1 to 100 with the step size of 1, then what it should print? It should print from 1 to 99. But we want from 1 to 10 only. So we have put a condition that if I is 11, when it reaches a value 11, then just break. Break means it will come out of the loop. The rest of the iteration will be terminated. So whatever the value it will be, after that will not be print. So let's try it. It is printing just 10 values. 10 value means the value of the I was 11 because it always print one less than the end value in the range. So whenever you use a break, it will just terminate the loop in which this break statement has been used and will immediately stop the will move to the next statement because there is no next statement. This else part is alternate of this, because when I is not 11, it keeps on printing. Initially I is 1, not 11, break will not execute, it will just print 1. After that I is 2, it is not 11, condition false, break will not execute, it will print 2. It will keeps on printing until I is 11. As well as I reached 11, this statement will execute and the loop will terminate and will control will come out of the loop. Since there is no next statement after the for loop, so the program will terminate. So whatever it has printed till that will be displayed. So I hope the function of the break statement will be clear to you. The next statement similar to the break was a continue statement. Continue. The function of the continue is to bring the control back to the loop. Let me show you one example, more clear from that. Yeah, this program, it's a very simple program. If you see the statement, it simple for loop has been used. what this for loop do is start from 1 and end at 10. So if I use simple this for loop and print, it will just print 1 to 10 numbers. But what I have put the condition, if I is equal to 5, then continue. Otherwise, print I end. Let's see the output what it gives. When we run this, it gives the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 5 has been skipped. 5 has been skipped. So what it has done? As well as if I is 5, continue, it means it will print statement will not execute. The control will go back to the loop for the next rest of the statements. In break, the control immediately goes out of the loop. Rest of the statement, rest of the iterations are skipped. But in case of continue, the control goes back to the loop and the rest of the iteration will move. Just the next statement to the continue will not execute. From continue means just go back and keeps on continue. Go back and keeps on continue. So this will not execute when I will be 5. So one more thing you must note, this end statement. What the function of this end? If I did not use this end, I simply print I. The output will be like this in the new line. Output is same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is skipped, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 will be new line. By default, the print function always gives the output in the new line. If you don't want the output in the new line, then you have to use this end parameter. This one. Then you have to use this end parameter so that the next output is in the same line. So this is the function of this end parameter. So I hope the difference between the break and the continue is clear to you. These two are very important statements which are used in most of the programs when you have to skip something or when you have to put some condition, like in when we write a program to check whether a number is prime number or not. The break statement is using that. I think yesterday I've shown you that. Yeah. This was the program. To demonstrate. It's just to check demonstrate no prime number. So what it do? The prime number is the one which is divisible by either 1 or itself. Okay, and it is not visible by any of the number in between 1 and itself. So so how can we check, how the computer can check whether a number is prime or not? It will start dividing that number from 2 and keeps on dividing until 1 less than its value. Suppose I have to check whether 9 is a prime number or not. I have to divide the 9 from 2 to 8. If at any point it is divisible by a number, like 9 is divisible by 3, then it is not a prime number. So what I have done in this program, we starts a loop from 2 to n. So it means n minus 1. It will check from 2 to n minus 1. Now I have to divide it and check whether it is divisible or not. How can we check divisible or not? If remainder is 0, then it is divisible. If remainder is not 0, then it is not divisible. So this function, this modulus operator, yesterday I told you that it gives the remainder. If I write n modulus I, then it will divide this n with this I and will give the remainder. Now if this remainder is 0, I have checked the condition. If this remainder is 0, then I have marked something that yes, the value of this variable will change, which was initially 0. This value has been changed to 1. This is just an indicator, just like an indicator. Initially the indicator is off, and as we get a number that divides this, the indicator will be on, and immediately it will break. Means there is no need to check for the other numbers. Suppose I am checking 9, then it will start from 2. Initially it is not divisible by 2, and then will 3. Yes, it is divisible by 3, then no need to check for 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So it means we use the break. So the break will just bring the control out of this loop. Rest of the iteration are terminated. It will just move to next statement, which is this one. This says if flag is 0, but the flag is not 0 because flag has been changed to 1. It means this statement will not work. Goes to else part. Here, if flag is 1, yes, the flag is 1, so it will print not prime. So flag is 0 will execute if break statement is not executed. So loop is completed and the flag does not change. All the iterations have been completed, but the flag does not change. Then it means the flag is 0, then it will print the prime. So in this way, the break statement works in this prime number identification. So when I used this type of variable, I use my name is equal to, then some string is there. It gives the syntax error because this is not a valid variable. Now let's try some other. I use my, then I use underscore, then I use name is equal to again some string, say Sam. It says no issue with this. So but there was some issue with this. What was the issue? We can't use the space. We can't use the space for a variable to be declared. Okay, let's try someone. Suppose I use some other, say instead of a I use 3a is equal to say 23. Again invalid syntax. Okay, I use a3 instead of 3. I use a3 is equal to 23. It's okay. So what are the various rules? But what are the valid variable and what are not valid variable? There are just only 2-3 rules that we should keep in mind. The first one is no white space is allowed between the variable names. No white space is allowed between the variable names. It cannot start with a digit like I have started this with 3 or any other special symbol except underscore. We can start a variable with underscore. Like if I start with underscore a is equal to 23, it's valid. Underscore a is equal to 23 is valid. But if I will use any other of the special symbol here or any digit, then this variable name is invalid. Okay? This was the second rule. And how long it could be? There is no limit. You can use as much long as you require. For example, we can also use name of this class is. If you have to use a variable like this, name of this class is, you will write like this name, then you have to use underscore name of underscore this, then underscore class, then underscore is. After that, you can assign any value to it. Say, I write here, say MC. Okay, it's okay, no issue. No limit on the length of this variable. Variable, we also call it in programming language as identifier. In general, when we talk about the programming languages like C, C++, or Java, a common question is being asked from the student in most of the examination: what is the difference between the identifier and the keywords? So keywords, yesterday we discussed, this is a vocabulary of the language, or they're called reserve words. Okay, we can't use a keyword as a identifier. Identifier is simply this one is name of the variable is identifier. This is called identifier. We can't use a keyword. So what are keywords? I think yesterday I told you there are 33 keywords. There was if keyword, for keyword. If I use say for, when I write for, it changes the color. This shows the keyword. If I use I want to use it as a variable. For is equal to say 23. Again invalid syntax. Same error we are getting. Invalid syntax means you can't use the reserve word as an identifier. So reserve word means they are reserved. They are being kept for some specific task. So you can't use them for some other task. So the rules are: one is white space is not allowed. We can't start with a digit or some special symbol. We can't start a variable with digit or special symbol. And there is no limit on the length of the variable. You can take as much long as you require. And you can't use the reserve words or keywords as a variable or identifier. I hope it is clear to you. So these are some basic fundamental things, and you must know these things. So with this today, I will show you another interface. As yesterday I told you, there are many ways to run the Python program. One is this one, we are using a Python shell. There was the Anaconda, in which we use a spider. There was a, I think this one is VB code also. So you should be familiar with all of them. I think now you're familiar with this one. Yes, one thing more in this, if you want to write multiple lines, suppose I want to just use a for loop. I write for I in range, say 1 to 100 with this step of 2. I just want to print even number, say not even, it will be a odd number. Now put colon. When I press enter, it will ask me for the next 10, because from this colon the system came to know that the line has not ended. It has to be continue. If it is print, say I. So it has printed 99 numbers. So 1 to 100, it was there. So if the line is continue, you are using for loop, you are using while loop, or we will also discuss the function today. You are using the function, then multiple lines can be written on the shell. Otherwise, how to program? You have to click on the file, click on new file, and you will get a separate window. Here you can write the program. So program, if you want to write multiple lines, program is also, we can say that a set of instructions. So if you want to write multiple lines, then you must write here, and you have the various options to run module. Just click on F5, shortcut key is F5, or run module. It will execute, but the result will be shown on this shell. Result will be shown on this shell. So today I will show you how to use Spider for Python programming. This is the interface of Spider. I have installed Spider 3.7 version. 3.6 is also available. You can easily install it from the internet. Just go to Google, search for the Spider 3.6 or 3.7, and just you will get a download option. Download it and install it. So this is similar to your MATLAB. The interface is very much similar to your MATLAB. So there are three sections of this window. Here we write the code, we write the program. In this section we write the program section, and this section gives us the information regarding the variable. It's a variable explorer. Whatever the variable you are using, it will give the detail of those variable, like name of the variable, further type of the variable, size of the variable, and the value of the variable. Another is file explorer. It will show you the location of the file. If you have opened some file or you are working on some file, it will show you the location of the file, that where this file is being stored or where you want to store this file. So two main thing, help is there. If you're online, you can get some help tutorial. So main are variable explorer and file explorer. So this type of information was not present in Python shell. That was for learning environment, simple. But at advanced level, you can use this Spider. The third is the console window. This is your Python console. Here you get the output. Here you get the output of the program. Suppose I have this program for I in range this. One more thing is there. Suppose I forgot to put colon on this. It will immediately mark this error. This cross symbol in red shows the error. So while writing the program, if you miss something, it will immediately show an error on the line. So it is giving the error, it's an invalid syntax. So there is some issue in the syntax. So we know that we forgot to mark this. Now the error has gone. Now to execute, it's a simple program. It I think the print from 2 to 10. It will execute from this. Play button is used for the execution. There are a few more things. Let me clear it. This one. It is basically used to stop the current command. Sometimes our program goes into the infinite loop. By mistake, we choose some condition which never met, like in while loop. Sometimes we forgot to increment the variable or decrement the variable, so uh, it goes into the infinite loop. In that case, we use to stop the program. We can use the stop by this command, stop current command. So whatever the command will be there, it will be stopped. There is another thing is to clear the remove the all the variables. So whatever the variable we are using, whatever the memory is there, we can clear that. So this one is used to run the program. When I click on this, it run the program. It gives the output that is from 2 to up to it was 2 to 9, but the output is multiplied by 2. This is a program just to print I by multiplying it by 2, because the loop, the range is from 2 to 9, so it will get 4, 6, 8, means every number will be multiplied by, will be print after multiplying by 2. So we get the output on this console window. So similarly, it is showing there that we are using only one variable. The name of the variable is I, and type size is 1, and the value is 18. This 18 value means the last value of the variable, because it's a variable and the value keeps on changing. Every time the loop iterate, the value changes. The value of the I changes. So let's make some more changes in it. Suppose I use another variable, say j. I print j is equal to I into 2, and I am printing it j. Now let's see what happens. Let's play it. Okay, now it showed, this window show that we are using two variables. One is I, second is j. We are using two variables in the program. Both are of int type, both have size 1, and the value of I is now 9, not 18. Why 9? Because I ranges from 2 to 1 less than this value. That is 2 to 9. So final value was 9. Or similarly, the final value of the j was 18. So it gives the current value, final value stored in the variable that we are using in the program. This is just a 2-3 lines of coding, so it does not matter. We can easily identify the error. We can easily identify the type of variable, what the value stored. But when the program is of thousands of line or hundreds of line, and we are using say 20, 50 variables, then this becomes very important part. This window becomes very important, that what type of variable we are using, what is the value, final value which is stored, how much memory they are occupying, what are the variables we are using, what are the memory stored, how much memory they are occupying. So all this type of information is used. MATLAB also provides this information, that what are various variables that you are using, and what is the value stored in that. Now there are many other benefit of this. Let me show you. Let's open some program. Uh, See, I have a program was greatest of 3. Yeah. I copy this from here and paste here. Yeah. These lines are just a comment section. As you can see, you can use a triple quote either in single or double form. These are triple quotes used. This is a comment section where you can write when the program was created, who is the admin of the program, whatever you want to write, you can write here. I just told you that in triple comments, you can write multiple lines of the comments. So this section is for the comment. You can delete it also. If you don't want to use, you can delete it also. So I just copy paste this program. This program is just uh, to identify the greatest of three numbers using nested if else loop. Yesterday I discussed this one. This if else has been used between this if else. So let's play it and see what it gives output. So it is saying that enter the first number. Okay, I enter 23. It says enter second number. I say 43. Enter third number. I enter 5. He says B is the greatest. 23, 43, and 5. B is the greatest. Okay. Now it shows a list of the variables now. How many variables we are using? There are 5 variables: A, B, C, and then I and J. And it's showing the values, final values of the each variable. It is showing the final value of the each variable. Now we can see that while using this, we are also getting some this I and J, which were previous variables, but not in this. We need to clear. So what we have to do is this one is it will clear all the variables. So before starting a new program, you can clear the previous variable by clicking on this. Otherwise, it will keep on showing you the previous variable also, which may be confusing for you. Also from this tab, history tab, you can check the previous command that you used. You can check from history the previous command that you used. So it keeps the record of previous commands also. Another thing that we can do, we can run the program, we can run some specific, suppose I just want to run these 2 lines. I don't want to run the complete program, I just want to run these 2 lines. So to run some specific lines, what you have to do is just select the lines, press Control Enter. Control Enter, it will just execute this command only. It has mentioned enter the first number. Only the 2 lines have been executed. Which 2 lines? Print, enter first number, A is equal to int input. This one. These 2 lines have been executed only. Let's say enter the first number. So I write 12. That's okay. It does not ask me the second number because I have not executed the whole program. I executed only specific part of the program. Suppose I want to just execute only this portion. I don't want to run the complete program. Suppose I have some issues or I have some problem at some part of the program and I want to check that by executing only this portion, what type of output I'm getting so that I could debug the program, I could find the error. Okay, suppose I want to run this one is just Control Enter. It is just asking me only third number. Enter third number only. It is not asking me the first number, second number. It is asking only for the third number. Let me give some value and that will be stopped. So this is one of the advantages that we can execute even a single line. You don't want to just print, enter the first number, control and enter. You'll just get a message, enter the first number. It is not giving me the prompt to enter the number. It just display the message and then out. That is stopped. So you can execute any single line or multiple lines of your selection, but the line should
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Hello. So we are not able to hear you.
हेलो।
हाँ जी सर.
हाँ सर, सर को जो है कि साउंड आ नहीं रही, मैं फ़ोन कर रहा हूँ सर को अभी।
Okay sir. Okay okay.
हेलो।
हाँ जी सर.
वो सर को एक बार सर का फ़ोन होगा सर का।
सर एक मिनट मैं कॉल करती हूँ सर. सूरज सर को कॉल करती हूँ.
संजीव सर, मेरी आवाज़ आपको आ रही है? क्योंकि मेरे को अभी भी आपकी नहीं आ रही।
सर नेटवर्क इशू है आई गेस.
नहीं बेटा, नेटवर्क इश्यूज तो इशू नहीं है। मैंने फ़ोन पे बात हो गई, नेटवर्क प्रॉपर आ रहा है। मैं उनको बोलता हूँ कि शायद ईयरफोन्स हटा के एक बार चेक कर।
ओके सर.
एक सेकंड, आप महिमा आप अपना म्यूट कर लो। हाँ जी, सिर्फ संजीव सर का ही अनम्यूट रहने दो। लेट मी।
हाँ जी सर, अब आप देखिए सर, अब आ रही है?
हाँ जी संजीव सर, अभी आवाज़ आने लग गई है आपकी।
हाँ, मैंने ऐसी यूएसबी निकाल के दोबारा इंसर्ट की है।
ओके ओके सर, हाँ जी अभी आवाज़ आ रही है सर।
ठीक, क्लियर है ना? कोई
हाँ
दिक्कत तो
जी
नहीं है?
अभी आवाज़ आ रही है सर, ठीक आ रही है।
बस ठीक है। स्क्रीन शेयर मुझे लगता है दोबारा करनी पड़ेगी ना मुझे?
हाँ जी सर, स्क्रीन शेयर आपको फिर से करनी पड़ेगी।
हेलो।
संजीव सर, अगर
हेलो।
आप ये जो 17th लाइन रिपीट किया था ना, ये एल्स जब आपने लूप लगा, ए इज लार्जेस्ट, सी इज ग्रेटेस्ट। हेलो, हाँ जी संजीव
ए,
सर। हाँ
हाँ
प्लीज
जी,
सर,
हाँ जी, हाँ
यहाँ
जी।
से रिपीट कर देंगे। यहाँ से आपकी आवाज़ आनी थोड़ा वो हो गया था, प्रॉब्लम।
किस पॉइंट सर?
सर
कहाँ से सर,
यहाँ
कहाँ
जब
से?
आप लाइन नंबर 15 पे थे ना, आप जब लूप लगा रहे थे कि सी ए इज लार्जेस्ट, सी इज ग्रेटेस्ट, यहाँ से।
ओके 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 ओके
जी
ओके,
सर।
ठीक है।
हाँ जी।
So I was just discussing that we can execute some specific lines. If we want to execute, suppose these two lines only. Suppose I want to execute only these two lines. I don't want to run the complete program. Then we can do this. How? Just select the line, then Control Enter. On pressing Control Enter, only these two lines which we have already selected will be executed. So I have selected these two lines, enter the first number, and then it will ask for the number. So in the right side window, on the console window, you can see it is asking enter the first number. Okay, so here I enter some number, say 45, then it stop because it has to execute only these two lines. Similarly, you can select any of the two lines. Suppose I select these two lines from the middle and then press Control plus enter. Now it execute only these two lines. So it is asking for enter the third number and then asking for the number, printing the message, then waiting for the number to be entered. Suppose I entered number 12. Now it stopped execution because it has to execute only these two lines. Similarly, single lines can be executed. I want to execute only this line, a single line. Control enter. It will just print the message, enter second number, and will not prompt to enter the number because I have not executed this line. So it is just a display message. It is showing here. So in this way, we can execute a single line or some part of the program. Generally, this is very beneficial when we are debugging a program. We are getting some invalid output. We are not getting the desired output, and we want to check by running some partial program, or we want to run some specific portion from the program. We want to run a specific function or a specific loop we want to test. At that time, this is very helpful. This type of option is very helpful. Further, I was discussing some breakpoints. We can also add some breakpoints. So breakpoint means the execution will stop at that point. Suppose I want to breakpoint here. Then just move your pointer at this line number 14 and then double click it. You will get this red mark. This red mark shows that you have put a breakpoint here. So when you will execute the program, it will just stop at this point and will wait for your response, what to do next. So at that time, you can check rest of the execution, and if you want to continue, you can go for the next. You can insert even as many breakpoints as you want. Suppose you want first breakpoint here, then you want suppose second breakpoint here. So you can add multiple breakpoints. Suppose I want to insert another breakpoint here. So once you will play, it will stop here, again play, it will go there, again play, it will go there. Means you can execute step by step. So here are some options for the breakpoint also. In debug, if you want to clear all the breakpoints, suppose now you have checked the program, everything is going fine. So you want to clear all the breakpoints, just click F12 or just click on this. Just a second. And debug. Okay, you have to click here. It was for both creating as well as deleting. Just double click again on this, you will delete it. Double click. If you double click, it will create. Suppose you want to click here, either press F12. Here the shortcut key is given in debug. Sorry. Here you can see this one is set or clear. Both can be done with F12. Set or clear. And to clear all, here is the command, clear all breakpoints in the file. By clicking on this, you clear all the breakpoint. Okay, so if you want to insert any breakpoint, click on that, press F12. You want to clear it, again press F12, it will be cleared from that point. So the shortcut key you can see from this debug menu. Shortcut key, you can see this debug menu. List breakpoints, all the breakpoints will be listed, clear, then added some breakpoints. This one is very important, debug. Simple to execute a program, we use F5. But if we want debugging means you want to find some error step by step. You want to execute the program step by step. Then you have to press Control F5. After pressing Control F5, it will move on to the first line. It will execute the first line and wait for your response. After that, you can continue by Control F12, or step by step you want to continue, Control F10. you want to enter into a function, you want to come out of the function, or continue to the next breakpoint, or you want to stop debugging, all these options are available. We will discuss all these options after completing this function part, because once you are able to develop a function, then we can check all these points: how to enter into a function, how to check a function, then how to come out of the function, how to stepwise debugging. This we will discuss after completing the function part. Even in the next session today, in the second half, we will discuss all these things. We will do it practically. So for now, I am just giving you some overview of this Python interface. So three sections are there. One is for coding, second is for variable description. Variable explorer is there. It gives the variable name, its type, its size, its value. File explorer is there. It will show you the location of the files. Then help desk is there if you want to use some help. And console section is there. This console section will just give you the output, or it takes the input from here. Console. Here you can stop if your program is in halfway, or it has been put in infinite loop, but you don't know why the output is not coming, it has been hanged, or there is some other issue. You can directly stop whatever was the last command by pressing this button. And this is for to clear the current variables. Before starting a new program, if you want to clear the previous variables so that the next variables are easily visible to you and not mixed with the previous one, so you can clear the variable from this. So these are some few things about this Python. So I think if you have some doubts, you can ask Dr. Goyal, Dr. Suraj.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Excuse me, sir. There are some.
Doubt?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
There are some doubts for our
please.
participants. Or one doubt is just a minute. One doubt is it is not clearly understood that why we are using Spider. What are their advantages?
Why we're using?
Using Spider, SPYDER, Spider.
Sorry, you noted. I don't know what are you saying.
Spider.
Kindly spelling is.
Spider.
Kindly spell it.
Spell SPYDER.
Acha, spider.
Yeah.
Spider. Okay, why are you using Spider? Okay, I think it is very much clear to you that Spider is much advanced interface as compared to simple Python shell. We can do the debugging, and we can see the variables. We can stop the program at any time if it has gone to infinite loop. There are various features. Even it has been just developed for the. It has been developed to run the machine learning program for artificial intelligence, and a lot of for web development and many other things. We can easily include the packages. There are a lot of benefits of this, especially for debugging point of view, as well as it also helps you. I show you that whenever we write a program and forgot something, yeah, we generate some. Suppose I forgot to put this colon, then it will immediately mark an error here. But this is not the case of this Python shell or another. So these are some of the advantages. Yeah, some of the advantages, but otherwise it's very useful. Spider is very useful.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Next
Next query is
advanced version. Advanced version.
advanced.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Next query is, sir, can we print the number instead of ABC in greatest of three numbers program?
of course, we can print the number. In this post, I have written that print A is greatest. You want to just print A, okay, no issue. Instead of writing this, you just print A, okay. Similarly,
Okay.
you just print C. Don't write this in string form. Just write the name of the variable. Okay, you can do this. You write here B. It will just print the value and not A is greater B like this. It will just print the value. Just use this like this. See. So now if you will execute it, let's say, enter the numbers. Suppose I have entered say 12, enter another number say 34, enter third number say 2. Now it is printing 34. 34 is greatest, it is printing a number. It is not saying B is greatest, now it is printing the number. I hope it's clear.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next question is, what is the size of variable?
What is?
What is the size of variable? Size of variable.
Size of variable.
Yeah.
Size. SIZ, yes, size of variable.
Size
Yeah.
of variable.
Size of variable means the memory which is allocated to store the data. For example, if I talk about int variable, it has size say 1 byte. So 1 byte means how many bits will be there? 8 bit means 8 bit of data can be stored. So what will be the maximum value? 2 power 8 that can be stored in that. So size is always variable in this because data type, whatever the value you give, it convert itself into the. So size means how much memory has been assigned to it. If size is 1, it means 1 byte of memory has been occupied. If size is 2, it means 2 byte of memory has been occupied by that variable.
Okay, sir. Next query is, if we only install Spider, then it will be work, or we have to install Python also?
Only Spider is sufficient. If you are installing only Python, only Spider, it is sufficient. You can install only Spider also.
Spider.
There is no need of this IDLE, integrated development learning environment. If you are installing this Spider, it's sufficient itself.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Next question is, why we are using flag? Flag.
Flag.
Yeah.
I think it was in case of prime number. I think this was flag was used.
Prime number. So next question is, what is the mean of 5 or 10 over here? Yeah.
Then, 1 minute. Let me first clear this out. Prime number. This
Why?
flag. Let's talk about this flag.
Why we are using
This
flag?
flag is flag. Flag is just simple for indication. Don't use the word flag. Just take any name. Say f is 0. It just gives that initial value of the variable was 0, and we want some indication that if it has been divisible or not. Now divisible, I change some value of that variable. Don't use the word flag. Use any variable. We just want to show the change. This is the programming technique. When we want some indication, then we use such type of things. Take initial value something, and if some changes happen, then change that value, and this value will tell you that the change has been occurred. So it's a programming technique. So flag is not a something keyword or something like that. You can use any variable name.
Okay, sir. Next query is, what is the mean of 5 or 10 over here? So, sir, 5 or 10 over here. Sir, in your lecture, what is the mean of 5 or 10 over here in लिखा हुआ है?
5 or 10. Sorry, I couldn't get
mean of 5 or 10.
about. No, where it is written 5 or 10. Sorry, I didn't get where it is written 5 or 10.
Sir, next question is, what does and equal to upper commas denotes? Can you explain this? Hello.
And is hello. Yes.
What does and equal to upper commas denotes? Please explain this.
No, sir, I couldn't get you. Actually, your voice is little bit. You can say some. Getting some echo in the voice.
We can text the questions to the Sanjeev sir. And Sanjeev,
better.
Your screen is not visible now. Maybe you have switched off your screen. If you are writing something on the screen, so it's not visible right now.
No. I am not writing anything. Let me check. Is it visible now? Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Yes, Sanjeev sir, it's visible now.
Yes.
So if
So please,
some of the questions you are not getting, sir, I think we can text you those questions. So Dubey sir can
Yeah.
text me and I can text you further.
yeah, please.
Or Dubey sir, if you can copy and paste this on the chat box to everyone. So I think it will be easy for the expert to answer those queries.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Sanjeev sir, we are pasting those questions in the chat box.
Okay, please.
Okay, Sanjeev sir, here is one question from the participant that can you provide some basic reference books, list of basic reference books?
Yeah, sure. I will in the next session. I will just give you the list of those books.
Okay, sir. It will be easy for the new beginners then.
Yeah, sure. No issue.
Okay, Dubey sir, can you please copy and paste those questions?
Yeah. Just a minute. कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रही है सर जी.
Okay, Dubey sir, you have noted those questions in your notebook or something in your Word file, something like that.
नो बर्ड फाइल नहीं, वो जस्ट नोट कर रहा हूँ रजिस्टर में.
Okay.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन इज बस वन, एक ही क्वेश्चन बचा हुआ है. लास्ट क्वेश्चन इज आई हैड Python 3.8.5, then which version of Spider is installed for this?
You can install this one is version 3.7. You can install version 3.7.
Sound disturbance.
Okay, Sanjeev sir, we will do one thing. We will post you the questions, okay? The questions that Dubey sir have noted, I will post you on WhatsApp so that you can answer those questions in the next session.
Sure, sir. Sure. No issue.
Yeah, because I am feeling that you are not getting the exact questions. So Dubey sir will give the questions through mobile phone or through WhatsApp. Then you can answer in the next session.
No issue, sir. No issue.
Yes, sir. And sir, there is a question if you can answer right now. Yesterday, sir, you gave a question for practice. Can you please help me with the palindrome and Armstrong number question syntax?
Palindrome and Armstrong. You want coding or you want? Armstrong number is a number in which if you do the cube of every digit. Suppose the number is 1, 2, and 3. Suppose 123 is the number. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Suppose a number is 3-digit number is 123. Then what is Armstrong number? If we cube each digit like 1 cube, 2 cube, and 3 cube, and then we add these three, and we get the same number, that is 123, then it is the Armstrong number. Otherwise, it is not Armstrong number.
Okay.
So what you have to do is, first task is you have to separate 8 digits from the number. Each digit you have to separate out, do the cube of it, add it. If you get the same number, then it is Armstrong. Otherwise, it is not Armstrong.
Okay,
if you
sir.
want the program, I can provide you this also.
Sir, okay. Next session, if you can please provide the participant that program, so it will be more clear.
No issue. No issue. Palindrome as well as Armstrong. I'll provide both the programs.
Yes. Okay, Dubey sir, I think these are all the questions.